Keith Hernandez was still wrong. There's no way in any stratosphere that he was correct in his statement. So for all the Mets people that are crawling into my comment sections across our social media platforms, what do you think now? I think the same thing. I think Keith Hernandez is big fat idiot who said some stupid things the other day before this Phillies series. Did the Mets wipe the floor with the Phillies? Oh, absolutely, especially in Game 3. Now, did they sweep the Phillies? No, obviously not. Was it a pitcher's duel in Game 2 of the series? It absolutely was. Did they get to their old boy Zach Wheeler in Game 3? Yeah, I'd say so. But the Phillies bats were absolutely silent. This series and Keith Hernandez's comments weren't about whether or not the Mets were better than the Phillies. Anybody who's ever watched a baseball game ever knows that the Mets are better than the Phillies. We know that. We also know in recent years, the Mets have made the playoffs far more times than the Phillies have made the playoffs, too. But the point wasn't whether or not the Mets are better than the Phillies. The point was, are they worth somebody's time? And Keith Hernandez, who wanted to act holier than thou, said that they were not worth his time. The Phillies are first off a playoff team. All right, albeit a wild card, they're a playoff team. So right away, they're kind of worth your time. On top of that, you want to talk about the defensive mistakes, and we'll get into Brandon Marsh. And yes, the Phillies made their defensive mistakes. But leading up to this series, as I laid out for you throughout last week, especially Thursday, Friday, 2 days after he made those comments, the Mets have been a worse defensive team than the Phillies this year. If you break it down, fielding percentage-wise, I believe the Mets have they're about 1/1000th of a fielding percentage point better than the Phillies. Okay, so that's pretty close. And the Phillies have committed 3 fewer errors. So defensively, they're right there. So if you want to talk about fundamentals and defense, still stupid comment. Yeah, what do you think about the Mets now? I think the same thing. Nothing changes. Keith Hernandez made stupid comments. So anyone thinking after this series it's justified? No, absolutely not. Like, factual. I'm not even giving an opinion. I'm giving facts. Keith Hernandez was giving a dumb opinion backed up by nothing. So nothing changes. Except this, I'm more pissed at the Phillies now than I was 3 games ago. I mean, looking at Game 1, the Phillies were great. They were just, the offense obviously wasn't on fire by any means. It was a 2-1 win. And the Bryson Stott stat, for those that, by the way, I did an emergency show on Friday. I love that overdramatic term we use in the digital world, but I did an emergency show on Friday. And this stat came up regarding Bryson Stott, who obviously ended up scoring the game-winning run on Friday night. This comes from Tim Britton of The Athletic. Bryson Stott, the first player to ever reach base 4 times in the same game on Max Scherzer. If you haven't seen that stat to this point, there it is. That's bonkers to me. And Bryson Stott had himself a game on Friday night. And the Phillies won in extras. It was extremely exciting. Then Saturday night, I'm out back. I'm on the patio. I got a cigar lit. My father-in-law, my mother-in-law are over. We're watching the Phillies. And my father-in-law is a huge baseball fan. And we're just enjoying every second of it. And the Phillies just can't get on the board. They can't get on the board. Finally, the 9th inning, you think they're going to have an opportunity to do it. I see Nick Castellanos swinging a pitch that's out of the zone, but I will say the home plate umpire strike zone was all over the place, definitely given the corners to Nola and DeGrom on Saturday night. And Nick Castellanos swings the pitch by Diaz that's out of the zone. I believe it would have been ball 4, would have loaded the bases. Diaz looked like he was losing his stuff, and Nick Castellanos helped him out. It's not all Nick Castellanos' fault that they lost that game. I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying that's the one particular thing that sticks out to me about Saturday night's game and Saturday night's loss, other than the fact that the bats just couldn't get it going until that 9th inning when they got some runners in scoring position. But then yesterday, all right, Saturday, Nola allows the run of the first inning, and that was all that was needed in the game. Zach Wheeler allows a run in the first inning, settles in for the next 2, and I'm thinking, all right, this is going to be a very similar situation to Saturday where it's going to be a pitcher's duel again. And then the 4th inning happened, and the wheels came off for the Phillies. And there are certain moments, I talked about this in the Nationals, or excuse me, in the Marlins series, especially in that 3rd game, where it was like, you didn't feel like the Phillies were going to lose until Game 3, and you saw a play in the 1st inning by Rhys Hoskins, and you're like, maybe that's not our day. You see Gene Segura drop a ball, and you go, maybe it's not our day. I had that same feeling that I had in Game 3 against the Marlins as I did in Game 3 against the Mets. Just not our day. That 4th inning happened, and I go, this ain't the Marlins. This ain't the Nationals. The Mets are going to just keep pouring it on. and for the most part, they did. Vogelbach got the home run later in the ball game, and it just didn't feel like it was going to be the Phillies' day. Phillies didn't get swept, but their bats looked dead and buried. To go over some of the numbers.